Moving around the spine right now, warming up the joints, waiting for you guys to get situated. This is a feel-good flow, great to do in the mornings, or after a workout, or before a workout, whenever you want, honestly. Before you go to bed, reach up, breathe in. Bend forward, breathe out. Grab your opposite elbows and just kind of hang, or you can put your hands on the floor. You lift the toes up for extra flexibility. Start reaching around, just waking up the spine. Whatever feels good for you. Walk the hands out, come into a plank. Elbow creases pointing forward. Dip down, cobra up. Breathing deeply here. Push back. Come into your down dog. Take a deep breath. Try to get those ankle or heels to the floor. Bend the knees if you have to. Really push into the shoulders. Push the right foot up. Point the toes. And bring it in between. Come into a high lunge. In between your hands, I mean. Breathe in here, reaching up actively, keeping the front foot active, the back foot active, actively pulling toward each other. I'm lucky I got a mirror right next to me so I can kind of eye my form. Reach down as you reach up with the left. Really important you actively reach, get that stretch on the side. Other side now. Keeping your balance here. Don't feel like you have to come exactly where I am in the position. Put your hands in prayer position over the right knee, twisting and breathing. And I like to do this kind of weird thing where I put the right hand down, reach up with the left. Now we're gonna come into a kind of ninja squat, so you pivot on that right foot. Stretch out the left foot, stretched out on your left. You could reach around your leg and take a little bind for a shoulder stretch if you're flexible. If not, don't worry about it. All right, come back into a down dog. Take a deep breath. Reach the left foot up now. Same deal, same drill. Slowly bring it up in between your hands. Come up, make sure the legs are engaged. Everything is engaged. You're breathing, focused, feeling good, feeling light, moving into your body. This is supposed to be a feel-good flow, so don't push it too much into discomfort. If you can't do this right here, don't worry about it. Just stay in the lunge. If you can, then do it. Reach up with the other arm. Just kind of moving around here. There's not really a set, movement pattern I'm really following. These are kind of the movements that feel best to me. Now I'm twisting, breathing. These twists are amazing, especially if you're on an empty stomach. Breathe deep into that stomach and really cleanse everything out. Reach up with the right arm, left hand's on the floor. Now we're gonna pivot, come into our ninja squat on this side. Same thing. Breathe here. I like to move the foot around to work into the hip of the stretched out leg. Take a bind. You can. If not, you can just try to, You can put one hand out in front of you for balance and just try to wrap that shoulder or arm around your leg and start to build that mobility. Coming to a down dog again. Now we're cobraing up, breathing. Twisting, whatever's feeling good, thrusting. What does flexibility really mean? It's your ability to flex and bend. You flex your muscles. So when you stretch and you're trying to attain flexibility, coming in a down dog, bring the left foot up into a lizard pose. When you flex, you want to flex the antagonist muscle, the muscle that you want to stretch. And that will truly open up the muscle that you want to stretch. That's why you must stay active. You want to get bendy with the spine, with the limbs. You want to be supple, loose, but strong. I've got my elbows on the floor here, but you don't need to. It's a great stretch for the hip, the kind of right hip flexor and psoas. Very great stretch. Now I'm kind of taking a twist, pushing on my left knee with my left hand. Kind of like I'm twisting my back, you know, when you're sitting in a chair on a desk. You know, people grab the desk and twist their bodies. Taking an ultra twist here, you don't have to do that, but whatever feels good here. This feels really good for me, especially my right psoas is very tight, so me taking that twist really works into that, and you breathe into it. Now we're back in the down dog. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Move that hand out of the way, bring the foot up, right foot this time. Elbows down if you can, if not, just chill, breathe. Maybe even move around in circles, work into the hip. Whatever feels good for you. I say that a lot because, you know, everybody's body's different. Your lizard might look different than my lizard. You might be more or less flexible than I am. Whatever it is, just go to your limit. You know, play on your edge. That's how you make improvements. That's how you make gains. Yeah, you can even make flexibility gains. Believe it or not. We come up on our hands, do the same thing. We're gonna take a little twist. So I like to drop that back foot, still keeping my leg active though, to really get that nice stretch in the psoas and the left hip flexor. Breathing deeply into my belly, kind of even pushing my hips to the floor, bouncing my hips to the floor, as you can see, to really work into that muscle. Be careful though. I do this a lot, so listen to your body. We're back into a down dog. Now we're gonna come into a squat, one of my favorite positions. If you have like 1 minute to stretch for something, this is the position you want to get into because you can virtually stretch everything. You stretch your ankles, your knees, your hips, your shoulders, and your neck, and your spine. So now I'm just putting my fists together and pushing my knees out. Now I'm actively pushing my knees out, as you can see, as hard as I can without using my arms. Pushing those knees out, out, out. Now I'm grabbing my left foot, reaching up, grabbing the right foot, reaching up. And this is how you kind of work into the shoulders. So you can get anything, you can get everything in this position. Perfect mobility. Some people are kind of crazy about the word mobility, but basically you're just wanting to move into your end ranges of motion with each one of your joints. So now we're thrusting the hips forward, reaching the hands back, getting a nice stretch, coming back into the squat, and we're gonna do that a few times. So you push your knees down onto the floor, driving with your hips, lean back, look back, breathe in, breathe out, and now you breathe in. Breathe out. This is a really good stretch for the knees, the hips, pelvis. Your pelvis is not in alignment. You might feel some pinching in your hips as you do this movement. And that's okay, as long as it's not like a sharp pinching, but this is how you learn, which one of my hips is more jacked up than the other. Now we're gonna come into a butterfly. Can't talk. Now, as you can see, I'm trying to demonstrate that I'm actively pushing my knees to the floor. I'm also actively pushing my knees into my elbows. So this creates a very active kinetic, that's the wrong word, kinetic. An active kinetic stretch. So you're pushing from both directions, both angles. And this really works into your hips. You don't have to push full force. Right now I'm probably pushing around 50-60%, just a constant, steady force. And as you feel like you're working into your hips more and it feels safe and you're not gonna rip anything apart. You can start to apply more pressure from your elbows. You can start applying more pressure from your knees up. And that's how you build mobility, really activating these muscles and contracting them in their end ranges of motion, which will yield more range of motion and more capability in those ranges of motion. So very effective means of stretching. You just got to be careful, got to listen to your body. Still pushing on the knees here. Very active stretch, this one. It actually should be tiring. You should be tucking your pelvis so you're not slouching through your back. It might look as though I'm slouching because I'm looking down, but I'm actually keeping my spine very straight by kind of like flexing the abs slightly, tensing the glutes slightly. Flexing your abs and tensing your glutes ever so slightly is always the best way to get out of your lower back. So now I'm driving my knees to the floor and driving my hands into my knees, as you can see. So kind of an opposing force. I just do that really quickly to kind of get a counterbalance in there, but now we're just doing a very passive stretch. Now I'm not driving my knees up, I'm just kind of pushing them to the floor. Now we're gonna work into a 90-90 position. So you're gonna bring your right leg into a 90, left leg into a 90 in front of you. It doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as you can feel this position. If your back leg is, your leg that's kind of bent backwards behind you, the right leg, if that one's cramping, you can bring your heel into your butt a little bit more. But as you can see here, I'm just kind of bending forward toward the pigeoned leg and then bending toward the back bended leg. Just taking some reps here. You should feel like you're working into that hip. The right hip right now, it's internally rotated. And that's not a common position for us to be in, and most of us have lost that capability. So this might be very difficult for some of you, or it might not be. But if it is, just listen to your body and just take subtle twists. So right now I'm lifting my back right foot off the floor and driving my knee into the floor. Just try that a couple times. And then try the opposite. Try driving your foot into the floor and driving your knee to the ceiling. Just play with it. It's a very weird movement. You might cramp up. If you cramp up, don't worry. Just come out of it slightly. The cramping, now you can lift your whole leg off the floor. The cramping is nothing to be worried about. It's your nervous system being confused because you haven't turned on like your medial glute muscles in probably a long time. Now we're gonna switch into the other side. So as you can see, some of the main movements I'm doing is leaning over that pigeon leg and then twisting toward that back leg. And then with that back leg, I'm kind of driving that foot up, then driving the knee up, then picking the whole leg up. So just watch and follow along as I do that. Breathing here, staying pretty active throughout your whole body. I love this stretch. I spend a lot of time in 90-90 because it's not comfortable for me. I love when I find positions where I'm just like awful in, because then it's something to work on. And when you do work on it, you feel amazing because, anything that you're lacking mobility-wise, when you kind of break that barrier, your whole entire body feels a lot better. Your mind, everything feels better. So you're gonna lift that foot up, drive the knee down, lift, 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 lift. You can put your hands out in front of you for balance if you need. If you're cramping again, just come out of it, shake it out, you're fine. Keep working into the cramp, crave the cramp. Drive the knee up, drive the heel down. Breathe, nothing too crazy, just kind of exploring our range of motion here. Lift the foot up, the entire leg, sorry. Lift, 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 lift. Keep lifting. Just kidding. I'm bringing it around. And got our feet in front of us. Now we're gonna lay down on our back and take some twists. This is kind of like how I love to finish out a practice or a session, whatever you want to call it. But just kind of neutralize the spine, get anything we might have missed. Now I'm gonna come prone, and we're gonna bring your left foot to your right hand with your stomach on the floor. Just briefly grab that foot. However you get it, doesn't really matter. If you can't get it over, it's okay. Just make the action of trying to do so. It's an amazing stretch. Gets everything. It's a huge twist throughout the spine. Kind of gets your quad, your hip flexor, your psoas, your shoulder, everything. It's a great stretch. Now we're going to do it on the other side.
Stop that. Bring it back.
Grab that foot. Don't worry about your form or anything. Just, do what you're about. Do what feels good. Just be careful and don't push it too much. Feel good. Breathe. Loosening up your spine. Getting rid of the stiffness that makes you a stiff adult that's set in your ways. You want to be a loose, supple child. Always. All right. Now we're going to come up. One last little cobra here. Just really loosen up your spine. Make sure you got your energy flowing for the day. Breathing in. I think I'm watching like a podcast as I do this, so don't mind me intensely staring in that direction. Now we're gonna come into a child's pose. Breathe deeply into your lower back. You can stay here as long as you want. We're just about to wrap up here anyway. Honestly, the child's pose is quite the pose. And now, and then there's the plow pose. Bring the legs over the head if you can. Be careful with this one. Take it slow. I'm kind of moving quickly here, but you could still be in child's pose for all I care. But after child's pose, if you want to try this plow pose, this is an amazing stretch for the entire backside of your body, especially your neck and shoulders. All right. And that's it, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.